Welcome back to the news at 10. The Independent National Electoral Commission has set up committees on constituency delimitation to ensure impartial electoral constituencies nationwide. The INEC chairman, Professor Eendu-ukeje, told journalists in Abuja that the structure had been severely criticized for being at variance with international best practices and the principle of equal representation. The Commission also signed a Memorandum of Understanding with the Office of the Surveyor General of the Federation to strengthen partnerships and enhance legal backing for a successful assignment.
There are wide-ranging disparities from a constituency with about 120,000 to a constituency with about 1.2 million. Whereas the population quota in Nigeria, if you divide our total population by the number of representatives, say, in the House of Reps, the population quota is about 388,000. So each constituency is supposed to be, on average, 388,000, give or minus. And internationally, the disparity should not be more than 20%. So our job, therefore, is to review constituencies to make them as nearly equal as possible within the internationally accepted limits. We cannot do it successfully without partnering with other government agencies that have the expertise and the resources which will make the assignment successful.
In its bid to encourage local manufacturing of vehicles, the Federal Executive Council has approved a national automotive policy for the country. The success of this policy is expected to lead to a gradual phase-out of importation of fairly used cars, which the government says takes the biggest share of the country's foreign reserves. State House correspondent Chukwuma Nekwusi reports.
It is the first council meeting following the president's return from the United Nations Assembly and the Independence Day celebration. And the Federal Capital Territory continues to receive attention. The expansion of the Outer Southern Expressway to ease traffic in the city center, according to the master plan of the Federal Capital Territory. The FCT minister gives details of the contract and its impact. He also spoke on more provision of infrastructure in Asokoro Extension at the cost of 1.6 billion naira to reduce the housing deficit in the Federal Capital Territory. The federal government also approved a broad policy plan to develop the nation's automotive industry. Other countries have overtaken Nigeria in automotive industry, and this is not acceptable to the federal government.
We spent about 550 billion naira importing cars into the country. That is roughly about $3.4 billion. We spent $4.2 billion in 2010 importing cars. In fact, when you look at the use of our foreign reserves, or foreign importation of cars is the second highest after machinery. And yet, we're a country that has the raw materials to produce cars in the country. We're a country that has a large market for in terms of consumers. A country that has about 38 million people in terms of middle class. And we have a labor force that can be trained and be fully engaged and employed. So this is a wonderful opportunity for us.
This policy is also gradually going to phase out the importation of Tukumbo cars. In fact, when this policy was being debated today, someone who is an expert in this area said, look, what these countries do are to export their own problem to us. Those are actually, industrial wastes with a lot of pollution and problems for the environment. But we know where our citizens are. That will not come into effect until we have local vehicles. And in fact, the policy framework here is that Nigeria should, in the nearest future, develop vehicles that will cost not more than 1.5 million naira.
The federal government says it has introduced consistency in policy to ensure competitiveness in the industry and the entrance of more investors in the automotive industry. Chukwuma Nekwusi, Channels Television News.
First Bank, truly the first.
Straight on to business news now. Here's Joke Rogers. Joke.
Thank you, Ijoma. Welcome to Business News. The Central Bank of Nigeria's retail Dutch auction system takes effect today following last week's suspension of the wholesale Dutch auction system. The reintroduction of the RDAS is expected to prevent round-tripping of foreign exchange purchased at the CBN's official window to unauthorized channels. According to the CBN, the retail Dutch auction system would allow only customers of deposit money banks to buy foreign exchange from the regulator through their banks. Meanwhile, the Nigeria's Apex Bank plans to raise 131.82 billion naira at its regular treasury bills auction, with maturities ranging between 3 months and a year on the 9th of October. The central bank will issue 20.15 billion naira in the 91-day paper, 43.49 billion naira in the 182-day notes, and 68.18 billion naira in the 1-year paper. We take a look at the currencies now. The naira has fallen for a second day against the US dollar on the interbank market. Nigeria's local currency fell as investors took profit from their local debt holdings and repatriated proceeds, piling on more pressure. The local unit closed at 161.95 to the dollar, compared with 161.6 at which it closed on Monday. Traders say strong dollar demand came in from foreign banks buying dollars for their offshore clients, repatriating proceeds from debt sales, which put more pressure on the naira. 9 more people have joined the increasing list of cash winners in the Glow Recharge to Stardom promo. The winners of the prizes ranging from 5 million to 25,000 naira emerged from the Southwest Zone. They received their checks at an event in Lagos, the nation's commercial capital. Our correspondent Henry Ogunjimi reports.
The open space by the Oluwole Modern Market Complex, Lagos Island, witnessed a different kind of activity, courtesy of one of the continent's biggest telecommunications network, Globacom.
We have come to give our winners their prizes.
As part of activities to mark the company's decade of existence, Globacom is rewarding loyal subscribers and lucky winners of its anniversary promo.
We're giving out a whopping sum of 500 million to mark our 10th year anniversary. We call our subscriber investors because they've invested their time in making use of our network, and that is why we're not relenting on our effort to say thank you to them at any point in time.
The current economic situation in the country no doubt makes such gesture a welcome one, and the winners are saying thank you.
I feel excited because it's something I never believed. But now, today, whatever Glow says about all their products, I believe them. Already I'm a businessman, but I'm looking for the capital. But now I can see a big capital that can boost my business for me.
I will start recharging from 1,000 naira and above to win more, because I'm loading 200 naira now. But from now, I will start loading for 1,000 naira and above. I want to win 5 million naira more.
I feel excited, very happy, because I don't expect it. So it's just a miracle to me, because I don't know I can come across this kind of lucky.
It's still going on for 100 days, so many more people will still benefit. We make sure that every sector, every Nigerian will be touched by this promo.
Do you want to make up that number? All you need do is simply recharge your Glow lines with 200 naira, 1,000 naira, 5,000 naira or more to enter, and you could just be among the lucky winners of the cash prizes. Henry Ogunjimi, reporting for Channels Television News.
Finally, the local equities market bounced back during midweek trading, closing up 0.88% today after Nigeria's independence celebrations. Bisi Koka has more of that.
Hello and welcome to the Stock Market Reports. The Nigerian equities market resumed trading today after celebrating Nigeria's 53rd year of independence on Tuesday. Market indicators took another step forward as the key benchmark index appreciated by 0.88% to close at 36,908.06 points. Market capitalization of equities listed on the main board hit 11.7 trillion naira. Leading the day's price gainers is food giant Nestle with an 8 naira 47 kobo gain. On the laggards table, pharmaceutical stock GlaxoSmithKline led the losers as investors chopped off 3 naira 45 kobo from its share price, and is followed by Okomo Oil and Jos International Breweries. Now trading out 61.75 million units, Zenith Bank was the most traded equity. When stocks crossed the finish line, 4.89 billion naira was staked on 396.43 million units, exchanged in 4,359 deals. And those were today's figures. I am BC Koka.
Thank you, BC. That's it on Business News. On the news at 10, we'll leave you with those other markets around the world before Ijoma returns with the rest of the news at 10.
First Bank, truly the first.
5 days after over 40 people died in a boat mishap that occurred in Niger State last week, relatives and survivors of the tragedy have been counting their losses. On our community report tonight, we take a look at how the people of Malili in Borgu local government area of the state are coping following the shocking incident.
It's 5 days since the boat mishap in Borgu local government area of Niger State in the northeastern part of Nigeria. The people are still counting their losses. Some of the survivors are still traumatized but managed to speak.
Tell that when they were going, so they reached a certain place in the river. The boat now capsized, broke into two. Several times has been happening to other boats like that. The boat capsized, and when he turned back to look around, he saw the drivers. The water reached to the neck of the sailor of the boat.
Shine mun tashi daga garin Tungana Ilo za mu je Malale cin kasuwa.
We set out from Malili heading for the market. There were no heavy waves, but all we noticed was that the boat collapsed. It's nobody's fault, but God's wish. When the boat collapsed, water started coming in and the boat began to sink. Those of us in front of the boat were just watching those behind sinking. I was in the boat shouting. Then those of us who could swim swam out.
About 100 traders heading to the other side of this river were swallowed up in these brown waters. It took an hour travel on these waters to get to where the unfortunate victims were buried.
The government concerned about the incident, and that's why the Chief Sergeant directed the dam must come personally to see what has happened, so that they'll be able to highlight lessons from what has happened.
The water is the only mode of transportation here. If there's any demand the people of Malili want responded to immediately, it is for the government at all levels to put measures in place to forestall a recurrence of this tragedy on the River Niger.
Next on the news at 10, Super Eagles coach Stephen Keshi escapes FIFA's wrath for purported racist comments on former Malawi coach. That's on Sports News. Be joined again.